What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Canes Insight Daily Podcast, live, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It is Christmas Eve. We are still working, always working. A lot going on. Miami is zeroing in on potentially a big-time offensive commit, a day one starter. So we'll talk about that. We'll take questions, get to everything that's going on in the Canes world. So I'll talk about some folks that are always working. That is Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Pete, hop in.
Good morning, D. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Not as good as my guy Nico here. He commented he's taking a massive dump on the toilet right now. Let's go. Fired up. Chat's already bumping. The guys knows with their families and doing Christmas Eve things or getting their last minute work in. They're trying to find out what's going on with the Canes. So we salute all the maniacs here. It's 8:44 a.m. And we're live here, not missing a beat. Pete,
sorry, I was tweeting out the live link to the show. We're working.
A
lot of duties out here, man.
I know, and we got to be sharp. It's the morning. We recorded Group Chat Sports Live. I was calling West Virginia, Washington State. Still shaking off the cobwebs a little bit from the morning. By the way, if you guys don't follow us, like and subscribe to this podcast if you're new. If not, Group Chat Sports. We're doing a daily show, me and Pete, where we go over all the transactions in the college football landscape, not just Miami. Talk about portal, coaching changes, recruiting. Who's doing good in practice. Just try to understand the pulse of college football from the stuff that's beyond the headlines. So if you want to be plugged into what's going on with all this movement and action, Group Chat Sports, do us a favor, throw us a like and subscribe. Even if you don't care, like and subscribe.
Just don't look at this first video right here.
Oh, yeah,
don't worry about that one.
That's right. That was, hey, listen, we had to be honest. Horde's going to be a loss for us. He'll be a gain for Alabama. We go through the country, man. It's been real cool, I think, for me personally, UP too as well, to just learn about all the different things, understanding the different teams through transactions. Because the truth is, if you want to learn about college football, the only way to do it is by keeping up with the movement. Otherwise, you're going to see a whole new roster every single year and say, oh, man, this guy's here, this guy's there. So Group Chat Sports, show us a follow. Oh, look at this. Miami Flow finally caught alive. The morning bird. Keep grinding. Love what you guys do. Merry Christmas. Likewise, Flo. Love what you do. Ran into Flo at Burn Steakhouse in Tampa before the USF game. Living classy, as always. So, again, appreciate your support. Appreciate all the early birds here.
Dave Faber asking where Aaron Nolan will end up. He committed to South Carolina yesterday.
We actually just cut a video, which Pete will put up after we finish this. It's on the live already on the YouTube after we do this show. But yeah, we did a video on Aaron Nolan going to South Carolina and that potential fit. He'll be a backup to Sellers, and I think he's going to be a pretty good player. But to me, I like the idea, just on the Aaron Nolan topic, because we get a lot of questions. I like the idea of bringing in young players that maybe didn't work out elsewhere and developing them here, right? There's 5-star players, 4-star players, particularly the quarterback position, that are transferring all over the country because there's only one spot. Circumstances sometimes don't work out. You have Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, guys that played and then transferred, but there were 5-star players, and then it being 5-star players in their careers, two of the best quarterbacks, young quarterbacks in the NFL. So you see that happening across the country. You can get talented guys on that secondary market, let's call it, of quarterbacks, of blue chip quarterbacks, Aaron Nolan being one of them. But to me, I think you got Luke Nickel. That's your young talent. Judd Anderson, super gifted from a trait standpoint. Well, let's see who wins that battle. Maybe Judd Anderson turns it on and really surprises people with how advanced he is. He definitely has the tools. Luke Nickel, let's say he wins the job. He's your backup. I want the young quarterback to come out of that group and then bring in a veteran to compete with Emory and be your starter. That's sort of how I see that portal situation shaken out. Bring in someone that's going to compete to start right away and has experience and that can win you, 10 games, 11 games, maybe more in the ACC. I don't want to take a step back. I did a whole rant about this yesterday, talking about Mendoza and all these guys, but my main priority in the portal quarterback wise, don't take a step back. I want that logo relevant all year. That logo was, every time I turned on ESPN college football, our logo was there somewhere in the show. I don't want that to fade. We got to keep that going next year. So bring in a veteran who can play, who can win you games day one, or who Emory has to beat out to get that job. And let Luke Nickel and Judd Anderson, those two, battle out to be your quarterback of the future. I'm not sure Nolan fit in. What did it say? Manny said they're straight hating on our boy D Money yesterday. I was just giving the facts, folks. I don't know what to tell you. People were mad because I was saying that I'd rather have a proven commodity in the ACC over somebody who has not played and might be what someone else already is. Call me crazy, but I'm getting old. I don't know how many more of these seasons we have left. Maybe if I was 18, I'd say, yeah, roll it with the guys we have and see if it works. I want us to be relevant every year. I'm taking no chances.
You sound like Jerry Jones, man, talking about you're getting old. You need a guy who can win now.
That's what it is. I mean, it's been 20 years of this. I'm not trying to take any chances, man. You can go in the portal and get someone that's already proven to be good. Why take chances? That's kind of my view of the world. Maybe if we were a different part of the program, it'd be different. But that's where I'm at. Let's not mess around, man. I'm tired of. If we go back to an 8-5 season or a 7-5 season where we're getting blown out every game, what are we really doing here? It's the same old. We need to stay relevant, and the easiest way to stay relevant is to have someone who's proven that they can get it done, or have that proven player get beaten out by one of your homegrown guys. It's great, but don't just roll the dice. I don't think we're in a position to do that as a program.
So you want to get into what our headline was here, D?
Well, actually, you know what? Here, let's get. I want to get to something here because this is a hot topic on the boards, and I might as well say it here. Dwayne Johnson saying Carson Beck. You got to have supreme confidence coming in. Cam spoiled me. Cam spoiled all of us. Cam has a chance to be the number one quarterback in the country in the draft. He's already the number one quarterback in the country. New York Giants about to have the first pick potentially. I know they love Cam. We could be talking about the first overall pick of the draft. That's on the table in the cards. Hard to replace that, right? I don't know if we're in a position where you replace number one with number one. It's happened before. I don't know if we're in that position ourselves. But there are veterans available. We've talked about Mendoza a ton. We talked about the in-house options a ton. One name that's not in the portal yet, but someone I think is worth monitoring, Carson Beck. So, Pete, the news came out yesterday. He's getting a repair of his UCL. That's his throwing elbow. He's going to be out for the rest of the playoffs, potentially back ready to throw in spring of the next year. This is the same injury Brock Purdy had, the same surgeon. Brock Purdy came back the next season, what was an MVP candidate. He got injured January 30th. So I think the timetable makes sense based on, the Purdy example, which from what I understand, same surgeon, same surgery. So I think injury-wise, you have clarity now with Beck. Of course, he has options. He can go pro. He was at one point projected to be a first-round pick. I don't think that's in the cards for him now, particularly after an injury that may take him through the time where he's throwing for GMs in the pre-draft process. And people, I want to ask you about this because you're familiar with these dynamics. He could go back to Georgia. Of course, Georgia has a young quarterback that's going to be playing now in the playoffs, and they're getting a look at that player. They've also been linked to Mendoza, Georgia, quietly because they're in the playoffs. I don't think they want to make too much noise, but Georgia's been talking about Mendoza. And then the other option for Beck is potentially going in the portal and playing his senior year somewhere else, which if he does go in the portal, his girlfriend is here playing basketball, making plays for the University of Miami. He's from Florida. He considered Miami strongly in the recruiting process before ending up at Georgia. I think at one point we were the favorites early in his recruitment. And, of course, he'd be a veteran quarterback that potentially be a bridge to Luke Nickel, Judd Anderson, whoever the next quarterback is. We'll see how that works. To me, I think if you have – look, P, I want to get your thoughts on Beck because I know I've been talking a lot. I think the guy was a first overall projected pick coming into the year. And then people like me – I'm sure a lot of fans, when you watched him in this season, you said, without Ladd McConkey, without Brock Bowers, you said, first overall pick, I don't see that. I don't see Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. So I agree with all that. But when you take a step back and say, compared to the average college football quarterback, this guy's a really good player. I mean, the stats are there. He's played in a ton of SEC games. He's won a ton of SEC games. He had enough physical traits that the NFL was looking at him as a first-round pick. So, I think this guy would be a significant upgrade to the room. Certainly not over Cam Ward. It'd be a step back from Cam Ward, but an upgrade in the post-Cam Ward era. Guy with a lot of experience.
That's the thing to me, man. Not to cut you off, but
Go.
that experience is like – because we were excited about Cam's talent, but like to me, the biggest thing other than the turnovers, like he hadn't won many games, right? Obviously, that was out the window, out the door. But you're talking about a guy who's played in the biggest of games, who's played in the SEC, and like Kyle says here, Beck has never had number 1 overall pick ability. I agree. I don't think he's that sort of talent at quarterback, but he, before the injury, was probably still going to be a first-round pick, right? So you're looking at a guy who the talent that you're going to surround him with, you're going to give him a good offensive line, you're going to give him a good running game. And I think if it were to be him, he's a big enough name that he would attract maybe another receiver as well, maybe in the spring cycle, because that's what we also have to remember here. There's also that spring portal cycle. So the experience aspect of it is huge to me, man. I understand that he's not the perfect quarterback. There are flaws to his game. There's still the question of how he's going to recover, right? Because that's not a guarantee, but I'd take him all day.
Yeah, check your private chat, P. I want to pull up that pic that I sent you. So yeah, he's dating Hannah Cavender, who is having a great season.
Which I was gonna say, that was the other thing I was gonna say. There's a comment here saying I don't think that we want that drama. They brought Cavender, one of the Cavender twins, back this year, right? And like they're balling right now.
Yeah, they're both.
And by the way, they've dealt with NIL for multiple years now. They've been in the spotlight. We haven't heard anything but good things about them in terms of, around campus and around the team either. I don't think they've let any of that stuff really get in the way of.
Yeah.
Of
have you? I've not heard off the record or on the record a negative thing about those girls, and they're balling for Coach Trish, and
they have a really good structure around them as well. In terms of the people that are.
By the way, that picture, if you notice and you zoom in, Beck's wearing a hat.
She's wearing a Georgia hat though, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think we're good. We're good with her. I don't know how Georgia is for Instagram fame. I think, if you're going to be an Instagram star and a star basketball player, University of Miami is the place to be. But yeah, Beck is very polarizing. And I think people just need to get out of their head. People watch Beck and they compare him to the first overall pick projection and they say he's not that.
Kyle says if Beck had Tommy John surgery, can't roll the dice with that. That's a 10 to 12 month recovery. It's not necessarily the same Tommy John surgery.
No. So I'm not a doctor. He got a repair, not a reconstruction, that you cannot do if you're a baseball pitcher, but you do it as a football quarterback. So Brock Purdy, if you remember when he got hurt in the playoffs, this was January 30th or late January, Brock Purdy got hurt and then had surgery to repair his elbow. Same surgeon, Neil Elatrache out there in
Elatrache is how
Elatrache.
Yeah, I've actually had a client who's had surgery with him.
Right.
Did a great job.
So he had surgery out there in California with him. Same surgeon, same surgery as Beck, or as Brock Purdy. I'm sorry. Brock Purdy came back that year, was their opening day, even though he got surgery 2 months later than Beck did. Came back for the season, no problem, and actually was fourth in the MVP that year, went to the Super Bowl. That was the year Brock Purdy had his best year, right, with no arm strength issues. So different for pitchers and quarterbacks. Based on what I'm seeing here, they're saying he should be ready for spring 25. That's what the tweets say. Based on the fact that it's the Brock Purdy surgery and the same surgeon, I think that's accurate. I'm not a doctor. I don't know the specifics of it, but you could see how that makes sense based on prior precedent. So, again, I think when you look at the player, Pete, well, let me start here. The decision to go pro or not to go pro, if you're Carson Beck and you're not going to have the preseason draft process, what are you thinking on that?
If you can't throw, you're not going pro, especially with the situation he's in right now. Like, I don't see a scenario where he doesn't come back to school.
Shout out to Keenan. Appreciate everything you're doing for our country out there. We'll keep bringing the content.
D, I wanted to get to this comment too. 352 UK says Beck not even as good as Klubnik from Clemson. Listen, I will take a Cade Klubnik as Miami's quarterback next year. I understand there was a preconceived notion about him heading into the season, but Cade Klubnik threw for 36 touchdowns and 6 interceptions this year, almost 3,700 yards. I will take that, and he can run a little bit too. So I don't know. Even if he's not as good as Klubnik, that's an opinion, but I'll take Klubnik next year.
Klubnik's going to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the country. I mean, I think we were so spoiled with Cam Ward that I think we've lost track of what quarterbacks in this country look like, particularly now, which is not a very good quarterback era. This year and then heading into next year.
I don't get it, man.
Klubnik's hot dog. Guys,
I don't get it, man.
Guys, listen. Guys, listen.
And this isn't the most talented Clemson team we've ever seen either.
Cade Klubnik is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the country next year, preseason, according to everybody. Cade Klubnik was a good quarterback this year. I just saw him in the playoffs throwing the ball and making plays. Cade Klubnik is good, folks. We're
not saying. Look, Nico Jones says Klubnik's going to be a bust in the league. I don't know about him in the NFL, but as a college quarterback, I think we need to readjust what we think is a good college QB, man.
Yeah,
because I'll take what he did.
Yeah, the league. I'm worried about the ACC. Is the league I'm worried about. The league that Cade Klubnik just won, right? That's what I'm concerned about, winning the ACC. Like, guys, so forget about the NFL draft for a second. So on the boards, we've heard about different people, like if Quinn Ewers were to enter the portal, right? Because Arch Manning's going to be the quarterback for Texas next year. If Texas flames out in the playoff and Ewers doesn't like his draft stock and he goes in the portal, would he be an option? But I've heard people on the Kansas City message boards, 7 million posts and counting, talk about, well, I don't like Ewers, I don't like Mendoza, I don't like Beck. Like, guys,
who do you want out there? And I think Alex Avila hit on that. He says people have a big misconception of what a plus level college QB is.
Incredible misconception. And I guarantee you in the comments, people are going to be like, Beck sucks. We need Emory. Guys, who is good in the country next year at quarterback? Like, who do we like? Exactly. Klubnik just had 43 total touchdowns. What are we talking about here? Like, who do we like at quarterback in the country of America next year, right? There's not that many good ones.
Because we're talking about Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck. Like, we're talking about maybe plucking quarterbacks from 2 of the top teams in the country. Who would you prefer?
Draft picks on playoff teams with size and traits that have experience, which experience is the name of the game, guys. If you look at the quarterbacks that have done well this year, Cam Ward has thrown more passes than pretty much any quarterback in the country, along with Dylan Gabriel. Those are your top 2 Heisman guys. I guarantee you nobody's thrown more passes in college than those 2. They have started more games. They're 5-year starters, those guys, and they've thrown the ball a ton. Curtis Rourke has thrown the ball a ton for Indiana. Any top quarter, if you look at Shedeur Sanders, day 1 starter in the college, he's thrown the ball a ton. All of the guys that have had success this year in college are multi-year starters with a lot of experience throwing the football. So I think that's what I am looking for in the portal is somebody who has thrown the football a lot and has been productive and has been in big games and can elevate our floor and still give us a ceiling of winning the ACC championship. That's my focus when you look at these portal quarterbacks. I think Beck fits that bill. He's not in the portal. A lot of things have to happen. But like you said, Pete, draft's going to be tough for him. And, maybe he just goes back to Georgia. But when you talked about Georgia, they're in the playoffs right now. So they're focused on their quarterback right now who just came in and helped them win an SEC championship. So they're excited about it.
Yeah, I know we have to, I want to keep you on track here because I know you have to kind of cut out a little early today. Should we talk about the potential pickup for Miami?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about some pickups that you guys need to make before Christmas. How about that, Pete? How about that one? So Christmas Eve, Christmas. If you're listening to this show right now, you may be a procrastinator and not doing your Christmas stuff and you're just trying to delay. You might have to, you're not cooking, you're not getting stuff ready for Christmas. Show up, impress folks. Islas Canarias, the #1 Cuban restaurant in Miami. Pick up a big box, a croquetas, some empanadas, maybe some pig. You don't have to roast it yourself. You could just buy it there for everybody. Show up without, don't show up empty-handed. Go to the #1 Cuban restaurant in Miami. You can go out west, or you can go to the dining pavilion in Dayland Mall. In fact, I was just there yesterday with Mike Ryan. Had a nice little lunch at Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion, Islas Canarias. It was the hottest spot in that dining pavilion by far. I saw it with my own eyes. Shout out to the owner, John Andrade, who came out and greeted us. But it was awesome. And shout out to Eric, by the way. I saw at Total Wine yesterday. Big fan of the show. I wanted to shout you out. So anyways, in terms of pickups, picking up, meat and potatoes, you can do that at Islas Canarias, or you can do that in the portal. And Alex Mirabal has clearly identified who he wants in the portal for center, and that is James Brockermeyer from Texas Christian University. 6'3", 295, athletic, highly intelligent center. His dad, Blake, played in the NFL for many years. He's a big-time media guy, played for the University of Texas. Both of his kids were highly rated players coming out. The brother of James had to medically retire at Alabama, was a big-time guy there, or big-time recruit there. Didn't pan out again, had to medically retire. But James has kept on his career, transfers to TCU, and was honorable mention all Big 12 this year. Graded out in the 80s as a pass blocker, according to PFF, which is an extremely high pass blocking grade. Talking to people from that area who watch TCU football, they say this guy's an incredible pass blocker. The run blocking, he got some criticism at times. Obviously, Coach Mirabal knows what he needs him to do there and feels comfortable with it. But by the way, this is why I tell everybody, like and subscribe to this show and sign up for CanesInsight.com. 7 million posts and counting, because right when Brockermeyer entered the portal, literally about minutes later, I made this post on Canes Insight, a name to keep an eye on, highlighting the tweet. This is all free information on CanesInsight.com forums. And of course, since then, it's been reported that Miami is the favorite for James Brockermeyer. So look, I think the takeaway here, pass blocker, elite, productive in the Big 12, experienced. Coach Mirabal identified who he wanted is not like a fallback option for Coach Mirabal. This is who he wanted as at the center. Ron Rodriguez will compete at center and can also play guard. I think the Brockermeyer family, these are guys that are big in college football. Again, his dad's not only was a big-time player, but a big-time kind of media presence. He knows college coaches. He's been around, and clearly that family is entrusting their son to Coach Mirabal, assuming that Miami's able to close this, which I think they will. That to me says a lot about Mirabal's reputation, not just in Florida, but across the country as a premier O-line guy.
Happy holidays, my boy Scotty, one of the best trainers down here in South Florida.
Yep. Shout out, Scotty. It was great seeing you at the spring game. It feels like forever ago. Port Knox, appreciate you. But yeah, so that's, Brockermeyer. So, Johnny Lagoon saying he may be better than Carpenter, more lateral movement. Yeah, I think, he's got a chance. Carpenter, I thought, played well for us. Pro Football Focus, to me, is hit or miss.
O-line's tough, too. O-line's very difficult.
O-line's tough. They're often criticized by O-line coaches because the grades that they have don't match what the team has. I know they were down on Carpenter. I thought Carpenter was more than fine. Of course, he was the center for the number one offense in the country, so that worked out pretty well. But when you look at the pass blocking grades in general, but pass blocking grades particularly, Brockermeyer's a level above. He grades out as an elite pass blocking center. 8 of the 12 games TCU played was not credited with even a pressure, Brockermeyer. So whoever the quarterback is that you bring in, whether it's Emory, whether it's Luke Nickel, Judd Anderson, or a guy like Carson Beck enters the portal, Mendoza, whoever the quarterback is going to be, they need a reliable center with experience. That's what Brockermeyer would be. They need protection up the middle, because the worst kind of pressure you can get is right up the middle, because it's right there. You can't step up in the pocket when it's coming right at you. So a good pass blocking center does a lot. So
Anthony Manzano's asking if it's possible that Miami does what they did at DB, get an experienced quarterback, but still has 3 years of eligibility from the portal. I mean, look at the quarterback spot. I think at this point, if you bring someone in, it's going to be someone who is coming to start at the end of the day. I don't think in terms of people who have multiple years of eligibility, because you do have Luke Nickel, right? You do have Judd Anderson, and then obviously Darian Coleman, 26. I don't think you'd bring in another guy with multiple years of eligibility like that, 3 years of eligibility. I mean, Mendoza has 2, so I don't know, but
yeah,
and just on that note, I think Mendoza's a long shot right now.
Yep. So I think that's not a bad idea in general. I think this year it's more about instant production there. 352, you say, love your show, though. Keep your excellent work. We like the challenging. We like the different opinions. That's what makes it fun, man. So appreciate your comment, appreciate your support. As always, we don't always have to agree. It's all love. Happy's Lookout's asking what's popping. Are we talking Swahili country music yet? Not quite, though. Our boy Andy sent me a playlist. But I've known Africa is big on country. Look up Jim Reeves, big in Nigeria. So country music is worldwide. A lot of questions on Xavier Lucas. I think we'll get some clarity today. I'm optimistic. on that one, but we'll see where that goes. Obviously, Xavier Lucas, if you were to officially enter the portal, would immediately be the top cornerback in the portal. To me, probably the top defensive player in the portal. When you talk about the size, the speed, the 3 years of eligibility, 10,500, 200 pounds, 6'2", borderline freshman All-America, maybe being kept off it by his old teammate at Deerfield Beach, OJ Frederic. They played together as juniors before transferring to private school. So that's the story there. But yeah, man, it's a festive mood. We got some Merry Christmas in the comments. We got Happy Kwanzaa from Nico. I know Hanukkah is the day after Christmas, I believe, this year. So we got a lot of stuff popping here. But appreciate you guys spending the holiday with us. And if you're trying to do some last minute Christmas shopping, or Hanukkah shopping or whatever, or you just want to get some nice gear for the winter, Miami Hurricane Team Store. It's MiamiHTS.com. They got everything. Use promo code INSIGHT20. You get 20% off your first item. If you want to go to the store, the brick and mortar store, it is right there in front of campus next to the Thesis Hotel. Get your winter gear. Get your Pop-Tarts Bowl gear. If you're going to be joining me, I'll be up there in Orlando for the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So you might see me in that sweater. Say what's up. But all kinds of winter gear, all kinds of Canes gear. And this is official to the school. This is retail apparel that goes right to the school athletic department. So you're supporting the school, you're supporting the players, you're supporting the team, while also getting the absolute best gear direct from the source. Miami Hurricane Team Store, MiamiHTS.com. Promo code INSIGHT20, 20% off your first item at the store or online.
I forgot to play this clip earlier when we were talking about James Brockermeyer. I wanted to play it real quick.
Let's go.
So we had this. This was an unnecessary roughness penalty this year, but honestly, I don't even think if this happened, if he was at Miami, I don't think we'd be too upset at it. It looked like he was playing through the whistle, man. I don't know.
That's what Mirabal loved that. That's Mirabal all day. Mirabal himself, I believe, was an undersized center. Although this guy's not undersized, he's more than good enough size for center. But Mirabal loves this kind of
action. On, man. Unnecessary roughness there. I don't know, man.
Pete,
look at the D tackle looking straight to the ref when he's thrown into the dirt. I disagree with that one.
On that note, we will sign off. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. Have a happy holiday season. We're going to see you soon. I don't know if we'll do something tomorrow. TBD. We'll see. Maybe we'll do a reaction.
Tomorrow would be that would be our first day, Monday through Friday, that we didn't have a show if we don't do anything, man. I don't know. We might have to pop in real quick.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. But anyways, appreciate everybody joining us this morning. Got 2,000 on live. Like and subscribe to the show. Go Canes.
Go Canes.